Welcome to the Angel Mystic podcast, where spiritually open minds come together to explore the wonders of angels, spiritual connections, and the art of manifesting, plus weekly angelic insights as I pull cards for the week ahead. Hosted by me, Amanda Tooke, the Angel Mystic, your spiritual midwife, to help you on your journey to a fulfilling and happy life, as seen on ITV, Channel 4, and writer for Fate and Fortune magazine. My hope is this podcast is your go-to resource for navigating life with more ease and flow. Whether you're a beginner on the spiritual path or a seasoned practitioner, join us as we unlock the secrets of connection and harness the power of manifestation to create the life you desire. Please rate, review, share and subscribe each episode as we embark on the Angel Mystic podcast. And don't forget to head over to show notes to find all the useful links to many free, amazing resources. Now let's delve in. Hello and welcome to the Angel Mystic podcast. Hello if you've been here before. Hello if you are new. You are all welcome. Today we are talking about what it feels like to be guided. Now, obviously I can only talk about my experience of how I find it when I'm connecting and being guided. Everyone's experience can be different, so bear that in mind. But obviously I have a lot of conversations with people and have been for the last 17 years about this as well, so I can share some of that as well. And I think, a lot of people crave this connection. They crave to feel guided, to know that they are not alone, and you're certainly not alone when you've got your angels in your life. But it can be hard to trust something, bigger and greater than us that is supporting us. So what does it feel like when that guidance isn't clear? Because it isn't always clear, is it? Let's be honest. Spirit can go quiet on us. We can be left wondering, have they left us? Have we done something wrong? And here's the truth about that. They never go anywhere. They never go anywhere, but we stop listening. And by listening, let's spread that out into a broader concept, because it isn't just that you hear, it is that you also see. And it isn't just that you just see as in like an apparition. You may see signs, you may feel things, you may sense things, you may know things. And it's about building all of that together so that you can trust that. So, your guidance isn't always going to be loud. It isn't always going to be obvious. It's so damn subtle. It's frustrating. But it really does make a huge difference when you can trust that. And it definitely doesn't always go the way that you expect. And I'm going to walk you through what that might be and how you can trust, I guess, the silence. Now, let's just talk about something. I'm going to be really open and transparent. A few years back, I misunderstood my guidance. And I was very upset with them. When I say them, I mean my team. I was very upset with them. And, oh my goodness, I lost myself for a couple of days because I've done this all my life. I've connected to something, something else. Didn't always know what it was, but I've always been there's always this spiritual curiosity, and these spiritual connections have been huge for me. And so to have what felt like, and we're talking probably about 10 years ago, felt like well, I don't know. I just felt very let down. And I was really cross and I was really angry. And I was just like, oh no, I'm not going to connect anymore. And I blocked it all. And I can't tell you how lonely those 2 days were, because I got it wrong and I was in a mood and blaming them. And oh my goodness, those 2 days were just awful, 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 awful. So I totally get it if you feel like your guidance isn't clear. I really do get it. I understand that it is sometimes hard to trust. So let's start there, because a lot of people's perhaps misconceptions, they are really, but they They expect the guidance to be big, to be bold. They expect to hear a booming voice telling them an unmissable sign, an apparition maybe, something undeniable. But fact, most of the time, it's so damn subtle. It's a feeling, it's a nudge, it's a quiet knowing. And it's in that moment where it just feels right. It just feels like the truth. And even if you can't explain it to anyone else, you will know it in your heart. And because it is so subtle, and that is just so frustrating. When it is so subtle, it's so easy to dismiss it as something else. It's so easy to question. It's so easy to talk yourself out of the guidance that you've got going on. And that ends up feeling really uncomfortable. That guidance and being guided doesn't feel like certainty all the time. It often feels like you are being pulled in a certain direction. It may feel a little repetitive, like you keep seeing things, same things over and over again. It may be a thought that just keeps coming round on a loop and not going away. It may be a sense of calm around a difficult decision that you need to make. And it can feel like I don't really understand this, but I know I need to do it. And I think that's really important. Guidance doesn't always give you the full picture. I feel like I've got spirit coming through. It feels like it gives you the next step. And when I got really cheesed off with spirit, years back, it wasn't that they'd done anything wrong. It was me. I read into something. I forced something and I got it totally wrong. And I think the difference between guidance and fear, and I guess that's what I was doing. I was forcing something from fear. And this is where we can get stuck, and I hold my hands up. I totally got stuck at that point. And I know this is a question that I have asked myself, so I know it'll be a question that you will ask yourself, is how do I know if it's guidance or just me making it up? I'm definitely getting spirit coming through now. And here's a way to feel into that. If spirit are going to allow me to talk, because I feel like they're literally going to stop me in a moment. If you've not listened to me before, this is how spirit communicate. Angels don't, but spirit take my voice and take over at times. And at the moment, they still let me speak, but there may be in a moment they might also shut me down and channel through. So we'll just have to go through it, whatever it is. But guidance, I think the deciding way of working out between your fears and in your own head and the guidance is that guidance will always feel calm. It will always feel neutral. It will feel steady. And fear feels urgent. Fear feels loud. Fear feels pressured. Guidance doesn't shout at you. It doesn't panic you. It's leading you somewhere unfamiliar for sure, but there's like a steadiness with it underneath, underpinning it all. Now, I understand, this whole of this, and I've said this before on the podcast, that the only one thing we ever need to learn with spiritual development really is trust. But that's hard at times. Most people do receive guidance, but they don't trust it. I know when I'm doing my readings, I'll say that to people, you're already well connected and yet you are here having a reading. And it's because they're not trusting what they're getting. And trusting guidance really means letting go of the control. But let's be honest, we're all control freaks of some level or another. We all like to control. And, not having all those answers can be hard. But that's what we need to do. We need to trust. And that means that sometimes we need to move forward without any proof, just because it feels right. And that can feel uncomfortable. And that's where we end up going back to logic, and we also overthink and we second guess. And every time you do that, you're ignoring your inner guidance, your inner judgment, and you're weakening the trust within yourself. I just paused to sort of contemplate this myself in my own connections and my own journey. That I've just got to do this. I don't know why, it doesn't make any sense, but you feel it so deep within you. It feels reassuring. It takes the scariness away. So, how can you start trusting your guidance? Because trust isn't something that will get delivered on a certain date at a certain time. You can't order it from Amazon. It's something that you build. It's built upon day. It looks like acting on those little nudges. It looks like listening to your intuition. And your intuition might be just what you're deciding to have for your tea. It might be the right journey to take home. It's about following what feels right. And when you start doing it with the little things, then you can start doing it with the big things. And that's even when it doesn't make sense, or when it doesn't make logical sense, but it just feels right for you to do it. And every time that you follow that guidance, you can show yourself, I can trust this. And that's how your connection strengthens. If that's something that you wanted to do, I hope you're joining the Great Spiritual Awakening, which is happening about now. And there will also be the invite to come into spiritual boot camp and work with me for 6 months well, you get lifetime access, but the program takes you 6 months to go through to develop that trust, to learn all the tools. But it's all over in show notes. But the real crux of this is what happens when spirit goes quiet, because they do. Or we stop listening. Maybe that's really what it is. And this is the bit that nobody really likes, when that connection feels dulled, when it feels quiet, when the nudges, you're just not noticing, they're not there. The signs are not there. You're feeling disconnected, and that's where the panic starts to build. And you think, oh my goodness, my angels have gone on holiday, my guides have left me. None of that is true. But here's what is true. You have stopped listening. You've perhaps not been, because, to connect, meditation's great, but it's only one way to connect. But you do need to be still, you do need to be quiet. And if you are living life at 100 mile an hour and you're never giving yourself that opportunity to connect, of course you're going to miss your nudges. Of course you're not going to feel as connected. That connection cannot be lost. I'm going to say that again because so many people ask that, but it cannot be lost. There's nothing you can't do anything and it be lost. You're not doing something wrong, only perhaps not being as quiet and still as you need to be. Spirit hasn't gone anywhere, but here's some things that might be happening. It might be that you're being asked to trust what you already know. When I was, when I had my shop, so my business started as a shop, and then I was told to give up my shop and write my first book. And that felt incredibly scary to me because that was the guidance I got to write. Do I have an angel? Over there on the shelf, if you're watching on Amazon, sorry, on YouTube even. But you can get the book on Amazon. That's maybe where my brain was going. Anyway, when I was in that situation and the upstairs were telling me that I needed to give up my shop, My guides kept telling me the same message over and over again. And I kept doubting it and asking again, getting the same message. He thought I might have got it. And then eventually they sort of stepped back a bit. And when I went in and I asked my guide to step forward, when I say go within my meditations and connection, all I could see was his feet. So I knew he was still there, but he wouldn't let me see anything else apart from his feet. And I got it and I thought, oh, okay, I am not, I am not trusting what I've got. And that might be what could be happening for you. The second thing that could be going on is that you are integrating, you are processing. You know, there's moments when you're not meant to receive more, but you're meant to work with what you've got, where you're meant to process things, where you're meant to ground, where you're meant to embody. Because if you're getting that constant guidance without any integration, that can lead to overwhelm. And it might be that you are being strengthened. And this is a bigger one. This is, when it feels quiet, you're invited to trust without constant reassurance. I guess you can think of that as taking your connection to the next level. And you realize that you don't need signs in every moment, that you are already connected. But what you can do in those quiet moments, in those silences, you can choose not to chase, to not force. Don't beg for signs. Can you give me a sign that that was a sign? Or can you give me another sign that that was a sign? Yes, people do that. But instead, you slow down. You connect with yourself. You trust what you've already feel, sense, know. And importantly, those silences can bring real revelations, but not if you're not listening. So being guided isn't about having constant answers and constant three-way conversations. It's about building a relationship. When I take people through meeting your guardian angel, they meet their guardian angel. The next step after that is to build a relationship with them like you would with a new friend. Get to know them. Have you been doing that? Ask yourself, have you been doing that? Have you been building that connection, that trust? Because this is how we build a relationship. This is how we understand who and what we're connected to and understand the silences when we feel we're being ignored. So if you feel unsure, if you've been wondering whether you are really being guided or whether you're making it up, even in those quiet moments, and maybe especially in those quiet moments, absolutely trust. So I would love you to rate, review, share this, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'm going to give us our cards for the week. This is for, let me look, 27th of April to, I can't believe I'm saying May, but the 3rd of May. Here we go. Ooh, these are good cards this week. They feel steady. When I say good cards, they feel steady. So we're going to start the week with a bit of focus. What is it that you haven't been doing that you know you need to do? It's now time to bring it to the top of the list and start putting your focus on it. You know what that is, the angels say. You know what that is. Second card for Tuesday is the accepting card. Time to say to yourself, do you know what? Give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing all right. You might not have got to exactly where you want to yet, but you are getting there. You've absolutely got to trust. Trust, trust, trust. So there we go. That's I also want to say it might feel like you're in hot water. I don't think I've ever said this on this card ever. But it might feel like you are in hot water and almost treading water at the moment and not making progress, but absolutely know that you are. Wednesday is the issues card. This is all about remembering that sometimes we don't need to get dragged into other people's problems. We can love them dearly, we can shine the light for them, but we don't need to be in the trenches with them. It doesn't help anyone, it doesn't help them, it doesn't help them get out of the situation they are in. So make sure that you're doing really good energy work in not getting drawn into things you don't need to get drawn into. Thursday is the Michael card. Michael is very much the guardian angel that we can all, well, not, I'll say that wrong then, the archangel even, the archangel that we can all call upon to give us courage, strength, cut cords from the past. Maybe there's people in your life that you need to cut cords with and just let them go with love. This is Archangel Michael's job. He's so good at doing that. Friday, it sort of follows on from the Thursday about releasing. So there's a real message here actually, as we're looking at the cards. You know, not getting involved in other people's stuff, cutting cords, releasing on Friday and letting it go. And when you do release it and let it go, you don't need to hold on to it because it can't go anywhere then. Wait and see. This is my favorite card, and I love this card because there's so much optimism around this card that we can just wait and see. We just need to trust and know that it's all getting sorted out up here in the clouds. The angels are rearranging things, so we don't need to rush into anything. No hasty decisions. We just need to trust and just let it arrive in divine timing. And Sunday, it's the yes card. So these cards are really telling a story this week. And yes, if you need an answer, here it is, yes. But yes for everyone really means let's push ahead, let's go, let's say yes to things. Let's not hold ourselves back anymore. That's it for the coming week. I hope to see you in the big, great spiritual awakening. And I also hope to see you in Spiritual Bootcamp. Check it all out in show notes. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and got value from it. If so, please rate, review, subscribe and share it with your friends. It really does help in more ways than you realise. You can find out more good stuff between episodes. Just search The Angel Mystic on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you'll find me there. And I would love to connect with you more over in my free group on Facebook. Check out all the links in the show notes.